Number one shit with your number one. You ain't number one.
To Kill a Sunrise is the brand new collab project by Kota the Friend and producer Statik Selektah. It is a very short but very beautiful and lyrical project, as this album specifically shows Kota the Friend slowly but surely getting the recognition that he deserves. In my opinion, when I compare Kota the Friend to a lot of modern lyricists that we have right now, whether they're very overrated, whether they're very underrated, whether they're underground, whether a lot of them are independent, I personally believe, at least during these past few years of getting into Kota the Friend, that Kota is definitely the most criminally underrated lyricist that we have right now in our modern day time. At the same time though, it seems that Kota has been making a lot of noise, if not the most noise, out of a lot of independent artists on here ever since 2018. These past few years, it seems like Kota the Friend has been doing the most to try and get his voice heard, demanding his voice to be heard, and just dropping a lot of dope projects back to back. 2018 was the year that the world was introduced to Kota the Friend, as a lot of hip-hop listeners got to see what he has to offer to the table with his first official mixtape in 2018 entitled Anything. It was a very short project, but it was also very beautiful. And for that being his first shit he's ever made, it definitely did show the promising potential that Kota has to be a really great rising artist. And then a year later, we got blessed with the fucking masterpiece known as Photo. That one is actually one of my favorite projects by Kota the Friend so far. It's such a very dope and really beautiful project, of Kota the Friend, just really trying to work on his storytelling skills, putting it to the test. He just really blew my mind when I heard that album for the first time. And then last year, Kota the Friend took on the rap game, as he more and more has been demanding for the attention of a lot of hip-hop listeners, as he dropped his very impressive project, Everything. That one was a very different project than what I was used to hearing when it comes to the Kota album. He really is trying to push himself to adapt more to the modern day times, try and collaborate with a lot of different people. Like, for example, Joey Badass and Boz from the Dreamville crew show up on that album. It just really started to show how, Kota is starting to get there. He impressed a lot of people with that album, and me as well. It was a really dope project. And earlier this year, he dropped the second volume to his Lyrics to Go series, a very short, maybe 20-minute project of him just spitting bars. He dropped the first volume last year, a few months prior to the Everything album. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is Kota has been on a fucking grind lately, and it seems that, the grind has not been stopping. As he said in a lot of different interviews, he felt that, that he was fortunate enough to be gifted with this, talent of writing music and, being just a very talented rapper in general. So, he obviously wants to drop as many projects as he can, while he is still relevant, and, just do what he loves pretty much. So it seems for a while that Kota has been enjoying what it's like to be an independent artist. He is really enjoying his career right now, his life. He hasn't really gotten a lot of big help from a lot of major labels and major artists. It seems for the most part that Kota has been the main attraction in every single album that he's dropped so far. And if he does feature with somebody, it seems that he's mostly, working with his family or, his childhood friends. He obviously is keeping his circle small in order to, succeed in what he's doing. And for the most part, it seems that he has gained a lot of fast growing success so far in his career. I think when you compare Kota to a lot of different independent artists out here, he seems to be blowing up a lot, and he seems to be doing it a lot more better than a lot of other people. So obviously, a lot of Kota fans would say that he doesn't really need that much help, because it seems that he has been killing it at the game so far on his own. So y'all could imagine my surprise when Kota the Friend first announced this project on his social media, and I saw that he was going to be collaborating with one of the biggest, legendary producers that we have in the game. He's worked with a lot of people. Statik Selektah, he has such a fucking unique way of, making his, production value. He just always brings something classic and new to the table. And, I was really, really surprised by it. But at the same time, I was happy because it seems that now more than ever, Kota has been stepping outside of his comfort zone to really try and make connections and collaborate with a lot of different, producers and a lot of different like big time artists in order to finally get that attention and finally start to rise and to hopefully get the career like a lot more pretty much growing faster. Statik and Kota team up together to create a very criminally underrated, beautiful project that is an obvious, inspiration from a Kendrick Lamar album, to obviously To Pimp a Butterfly, To Kill a Sunrise. I get a lot of Kendrick Lamar vibes throughout this whole project, and I really, really do, love the inspiration because I think this is the kick that Kota definitely needed to, create a project that a lot of people are going to remember. Honestly, y'all, I get a lot of, nostalgia throughout this whole project. I know it's kind of weird to say because it is a modern hip hop project, but with a producer like Statik, who, he mostly like works with a lot of like old school beats, it kind of gives you those like 90s like chill summer vibes, maybe early 2000s as well. It's just a very, very chill project as expected when it comes to a project from Kota the Friend. Kota's lyricism is louder than ever on this project as he has been, now more than ever demanding his voice to be heard by a lot of hip hop fans and just from the world in general, as he has been proven that like during these past few years of him being a rising independent artist, his pen game has been consistently good, and it just keeps getting better and better. And I have no doubt that at some point he's gonna have the craziest flow and some of the most clever fucking metaphors that a lot of people are going to be hearing. I was very glad to see that Kota has, taken most of the spotlight throughout this whole project. Like I said, he has done that a lot in the past, but he at least had some help from a lot of family and friends. And on this project, he includes, little to no features. Part of it is probably because he's already collaborating with one of the best producers in the world, and obviously he wants to keep up with Statik Selektah and to prove that he is worthy enough to rap on a beat made by someone like Statik Selektah. And he pretty much goes throughout this whole album with little to no features and proves to everybody why he can be a one-man show and why he has a lot of potential to be a fucking monster throughout the whole rap game. In a way, by Kota the Friend including little to no features throughout this whole project where it's mostly him rapping and you really don't hear a lot of other rappers throughout this whole album, it really, really like shows how slept on he's been, a lot of people have been sleeping on him lately. He hasn't really been, that recognized. When I talk to other people about hip hop and I mention his name, and they don't really know who he is. But honestly, I think this project specifically is gonna show people, just how much they slept on him, and hopefully this will be the project that is gonna get him a lot of attention from a lot of people, and once again will hopefully get his career to a much more greater start and a much more faster growth. The only feature on this album includes a very beautiful and catchy classic love song with an artist known as Haley Supreme. I really, really do love this song. It's the kind of love song that you don't really hear anymore. Like we're so used to hearing, a bunch of rappers talking about bitches and whatnot. Oh, like I have the baddest chick in the world, and I really love, what Kota did with this song because it shows, a much more like, a respectful approach, not saying that, all those other like, love songs, those dirty love songs are trash because, I listen to a few of them here and there, but, I really, really love that Kota is, bringing some of that real shit back, because I feel that we don't really get enough of that in not just hip hop, but just a lot of music in general, unfortunately. Kota the Friend is absolutely, just like always, the main attraction throughout this whole project. He is definitely the reason why you want to hear this album because his lyricism is just as good as ever. His storytelling is great. He has that weirdo, like, rap style. He just has like such a, unique way of bringing something new to the table. But besides Kota the Friend, it's Statik Selektah's very beautiful production value, his amazing and talented craft that really makes this album a lot more memorable, and makes you want to hear it more, especially for those of you that have been following Statik's career for a very long time. Y'all know that Statik just brings something hard and new to the table all the time, and he is once again one of the biggest and legendary producers that we have in the game right now. Honestly, y'all, Statik Selektah is the main reason why I loved every single track on this album. I enjoyed every track on this album because it has that beautiful production work, that classic boom bap style of rap. I just really enjoyed the production in every song. Don't get me wrong, I will forever love Kota's lyricism, and I will forever love the kind of person that he is. But when I think about two songs specifically called The Love and The Hate, those two tracks just seemed a bit underwhelming, and that was because of Kota himself, unfortunately. And although they seemed a bit underwhelming, Statik's production value definitely made up for it, and it really it made me forget that I just really wasn't feeling what Kota was rapping about, and what his flow was throughout those two songs, in my opinion. However, besides those two tracks being a bit underwhelming for me, that still, in my opinion, doesn't stop the album from being enjoyable. Not just for me, but for a lot of people in general. I feel that anybody who is a very big fan of hip hop, that classic style of hip hop, just anyone that can appreciate the art and the culture that this genre has offered the world during the past few years, you will all definitely enjoy this album. I will be the first to say that although Kota the Friend is not really always acknowledged as a sort of top tier, a lyricist when it comes to the independent rap game, though a lot of people don't really, recognize him as a talented MC and really don't know who he is in general. But I will say that this project specifically has shown why Kota is a fucking lyrical monster, and why a lot of rappers should look out when he starts blowing up, because I feel that this album specifically is gonna make him finally blow up and hopefully get a lot of attention from a lot of people. So overall, I'm gonna give the album a 9 out of 10. It was almost gonna be a 10 out of 10, but like I said, there was those two underwhelming tracks. But besides that, production value is great. Kota the Friend is just as great as ever, and honestly, it's just a very chill and beautiful project as always that I think a lot of you will enjoy. So please go check it out. I think you will all definitely enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed my review, what did y'all think about this album? Have you heard it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What are your favorite tracks? What are your least favorite tracks? Please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your opinions about this album. And with that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the button down below, all that good stuff, and don't forget to stay happy.
It's like I'm living a dream, that's how to reach. I've been cooking like Walter and Jesse P. Kisses Austin, trying to be a prodigy. Fast deep.